Good evening, everybody. Welcome, brothers. How you guys doing? It's been a busy week for me. Had that video out on the FAQ on Tuesday. If you can hear me okay, go and just shout out in the chat that you could hear everything. That would be great. So yeah, we had a video on Tuesday, and we've got a pretty cool tactics video coming out tomorrow. As always, they come out about lunchtime. So, lunchtime UK time. And yeah, tonight we're just hanging out. Don't really have a schedule or an agenda for tonight, but I do have multiple things that I need to work on. So, possibly going to work on this for a little bit. Just started this the other night, put 2 hours into it just to get this far, so basically it's nowhere. And I also have a new guy that I've been converting as a chapter master. So he's going to... No, not the chapter master. Sorry, I always get this wrong. The chapter champion. So this is going to be my chapter champion. Bit of a conversion of a Forge World model with a Blade Guard veteran head. And then I'm going to see if we can get the shield on him somewhere on that arm. Haven't stuck the shield on. Figured I was going to paint him first and then do the shield. So we've got that, and then everybody's running this utility librarian, right? So I've opened it, but I haven't got anywhere with it. So maybe we're just gonna start by just making this, and then we'll get onto the tank afterwards. But American Bully Greco says, "Evening, Battle Brother. How you doing, American?" And Oogie Man says, "For Sanguinius and the Emperor." Hello, Oogie. How you doing? And then the Cunning Linguist says, "Yeah, it's good. What's good? What's good, brother? Hope you are well tonight." This is a Librarian and Terminator armor, so we'll just throw him together real quick. I can't imagine it will take very long at all. And it'll just give me another model that I need to get painted. Now, where the hell did I put my tool? This desk is a mess at the moment. Must be in this box. Yeah, here we go. Alright. Cool. So, yeah, and these streams, usually we're just a bit ad hoc, so if there's any questions that you have, Blood Angels related, or any rule questions, or anything like that, just fire them in the chat, and I will try and read it. I try and probably read back every chat message, but obviously there's times where I miss some, and we'll throw on some sort of decent, relaxing music, I guess, for the stream. So it's probably going to be a bit loud, but if the music's too loud or too quiet, somebody in chat let me know. But I've been wanting to get in and do some good hobbying for a few days now. But things have just, real life can get on top of you. I'm just going to move myself. Yeah, there we go. Alright. I have a bunch of Mark 4 and Mark 5 Assault Intercessors on the way, and I'm very excited about it. Cool. Assault Marines, sorry, I thought you said Assault Intercessors. I got Intercessors on the brain. I was thinking about ordering another box of Vanguard Veterans. I don't know if you were in my last stream. Good evening, Michael, how you doing? This channel has inspired me to make my own chapter champion. I have a Forge World 30k Praetor on the way, which I'm going to use. Amazing. The Praetor is a very cool model. It was either him or this guy here that I've got that I was thinking to make into my chapter champion. So I don't know if you were in the previous stream when I was looking at Vanguard Veterans, but I have been painting the Vanguard Veterans slowly but surely. So these are going to be a set of Vanguard Veterans with custom shields. So I'm working on these guys off stream, but I guess they're like 25% done. I'm doing 11 of them at once, so like it's a batch paint, so it's kind of, it's not very exciting for the stream, just working through like red arms on like 10 guys or red shoulder pads on 10 guys. But yeah, trying to finish up some Vanguard veterans, and then yeah, I've been building some more lists because of lockdown, I guess, and like I think I have like another like a really strong list, like I said, or with that chapter champion in the list, and I'm desperate to use it, but like I just don't know when I'm going to get to play again. It's possibly going to be like a month or longer. No, I missed that. Those were the shields from Kaz. They look better than the cross-looking ones. What are those shields from? Sorry, I missed. Those shields are from eBay, to be honest. I have more of them here. Let me show you. I bought another 5 because I thought that I would do the rest of my. I want to buy. Like I said, I wanted to buy 5 more. I want to buy 5 more Vanguard Vets because Lightning Claws got made good, right? So these were from this website, Cromlech, but that was the seller. So this is actually from eBay. They're called Legendary Kruz Pattern Shields. I thought they were pretty cool. The problem was, like, a single Storm Shield on eBay like costs like $4, right? And I was like, you get about 2 Storm Shields in the box, and I was like, I'm not paying like $40 to get Storm Shields for all my Vanguard Vets, because I made. What did I make? I made 3 with Thunder Hammers with Storm Shields, 3 with Lightning Claw, Chain Swords with Storm Shields, 3 with Power Fists with Storm Shields, so, and then a Captain with a Relic Blade and Storm Shields. So yeah, it was going to cost like $40 to buy the shields, so I was like, no way. So those Cromlech ones were from eBay, and they're like a fraction of the cost. So this is kind of an interesting kit in that the Blood Angel's insignia on the shoulder pad is actually built into the arm. So I guess if you wanted to customize the shoulder pad on this chaplain, you can't. Which I mean, it's fine, I guess. But no, that's not a chaplain. Tully's a librarian. Sorry, it's late in the day. I already kind of fell asleep on the couch looking after my baby earlier. So long day with work and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been kind of making new lists, right? Because I guess there's a lot of stuff to do in 9th edition, and yeah, I think I've played like 75 games or something of 9th edition. I just honestly can't get enough of it. I love it, and I love how competitive Blood Angels are. I actually watched a video earlier today from a guy called Tactical Tortoise. He's got a YouTube channel, and he was saying like Blood Angels are only tier B, so like I guess S is like top tier, A is like pretty good, and then B is like average. And I was like, wow, if we're only tier B, then why am I winning every game I play at the moment? And I guess John says, I'm really enjoying your stream and videos. I just started my Space Marine army after having started with AdMech and Harleys in 2020. I appreciate the inspiration you give me. Oh, that's very kind of you, John. So I take it your Space Marine army is Blood Angels then. I hope it is. I mean, I guess this channel will have some stuff that will be useful, but I hope that you... Or a successor chapter. I'll let you off if you're a Blood Angel successor chapter. You can do that too. I mean, there is actually some pretty interesting successor chapters out there in 9th edition as well. Like, I feel like there's there's definitely some good combos and some interesting things you can do with successors now, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, everybody seems to be running utility librarian to get access to both the Space Marine powers and the Blood Angels powers. And if you guys watch my battle reports, then you know that I absolutely love Librarian Dreadnought for Blood Angels. Like, he does so much damage every battle. He's generally just very strong, but I feel like I need to have I feel like I need to have a regular librarian as an option. Like, I obviously have Mephisto, and I have both the old and new model, but yeah, I think I've just always owned Mephisto, and Mephisto's always been good enough where like there was almost no point buying a regular librarian. So hey, life Live or Revenge. Hey, thank you for subscribing, dude. Welcome. Join the Brotherhood, because we are growing at a phenomenal rate here. And Mr. Mono, welcome. Thank you for subscribing as well. Appreciate it. If you guys are new, then what we do on the channel is every week we do tactics videos on Fridays. And someone else, Patika, how you doing? Yeah, every Friday tactics video based on Blood Angels usually. I mean, some of them will be useful for Space Marines as well, but primarily Blood Angels. And Patrick Richard. Okay, so we are going tonight, boys. 4 subs already, loving it. Thank you. But yeah, so every Friday, five Fotbot. Okay. I think this is the most subs in a row I've had for a while, so that's nice to see. Because sometimes you do streams and like no one subs, and you're like, am I just crap at this? But yeah, so every Friday tactics video. We got a cool one coming out tomorrow actually. It'll go live at 1 PM. It's about Blood Angels and drop pods and our new stratagem Relentless Assault in 9th edition. So you're definitely going to want to check that out if you are considering running a drop pod. So that'll be out tomorrow. And then every Sunday we do army list reviews. So if you ever have an army list, you want it to be reviewed by myself on stream essentially, you can just post that up into the community tab of the YouTube channel, and we will review your army list every Sunday at 4 o'clock. That's what we do. And we also do live games. We were actually about to set up a live show every Monday night. It was going to be at 7 o'clock, but COVID restrictions hit. So the second COVID restrictions end in the UK, I guess we will have a live show, and it'll be live battles every week. And maybe the first one, because like me and my friends are so desperate to play, maybe the first one we'll do a couple of games. My friend has been running a really powerful Custodes army that I haven't actually played yet, so I really want to get a game against the Custodes army and sort of see how we'll do against it. And then, yeah, I mean, like last time we played, he ran 18 Eradicators, which was his Iron Hands list, and that was one of the most stressful games I've ever played in my life, honestly. Like, I don't know how you guys normally deal with Eradicators, but 18 of them, like, geez, oh, there's just, I breathed a huge sigh of relief when the 18th Eradicator died. Like, I've never struggled that much, or I've never been that scared in a game. Blood Angels and Hellblasters, yes or no? I mean, Assault Hellblasters are pretty cool right now, brother. I mean, with the 3 shots a turn from the Assault Hellblasters, I feel like there's definitely work that they could do. But I guess in it is a question mark, or it is a big but, is like you know, the issue that I have with Hellblasters personally is like, you just have to accept that you always need someone around to give you those reroll ones. Because if you don't have the reroll ones, it's a bit risky to fire them on high power. Which is maybe, you know, like maybe it's a problem, maybe it's not a problem for you. I think that's why generally people are picking Eradicators over Hellblasters right now. But yeah, I mean, I think Hellblasters could work, and especially like you could put them around like a Redemptor Dreadnought or something, right? So like you've got a Redemptor Dreadnought, so he can cast Duty Eternal. No, not Duty Eternal. Sorry, that's last edition. He can cast Wisdom of the Ancient to give you those rerolls. Is that bit supposed to come off? No. Oh, so he's supposed to look off to the side, is he? Alright, okay. Yeah. I was going to see if I could put a different helmet on him, but it feels like it's one of these ones where there's like a groove in there, so no, you can't really change out the helmet. Greetings, Dracula. How you doing? Good evening. Yeah, I mean, if you've got, I've got 10 Hellblasters and they're fully painted up, and I think they'd probably be okay. I mean, I could do a math hammer on them at some point and work out how they do. if there's something you want to compare them to, R greening, if you let me know in the comments section, I could totally have a look at it in a future video. But I haven't been running Hellblasters much myself. I mean, like I said, the assault ones did get better, so I guess there is maybe an argument now for using the assault ones, but yeah, I don't know. I just haven't been running them myself yet. What would you suggest I put in my impulsor, says Buon. I mean, it depends on what you've got. I did a video right at the beginning of 9th edition where I recommended that you put Mephiston and, like, well, I think the video actually maybe recommended Reavers, but like I definitely don't recommend Reavers now. The reason that I sort of recommended Reavers was because they had that -1 morale thing that was going on, but that's all changed now, right? So I would, if I was going to run an impulsor, I ran it a couple of weeks ago against the Iron Hands list that I talked about, and I ran it with 5 Blade Guard veterans and an apothecary in it. I mean, you could almost do the same with like 5 Blade Guard veterans and a Judicar would be interesting. Also, I guess what would be interesting is like 5 Blade Guard veterans and Mephiston, because Mephiston can, like, quote unquote almost like torpedo out of an impulsor, right? Because he can leave the impulsor. He can move. Oh, is my camera frozen? Oh no, it's there back. He can leave the impulsor for 3 inches. He can then move it 7 inches. He can then fly 12 inches. So at that point, he's moved 22 inches out of the impulsor. And then after that, you can charge, I guess, another 12 inches. So potentially, Mephiston can charge something that's 34 inches away from the impulsor when you, in this, you know, as long as the impulsor hasn't moved. So he disembarks, he can charge something 34 inches away. So I mean, arguably, you could get Mephiston in combat with just about anything in the enemy's army. So what the strategy is, you move the impulsor forward as far as it can turn 1. You then advance that impulsor so it's literally as far forward as it can, 20 inches, and then in turn 2 you just pop out and do you have to, you can't attach the front before you attach the legs, fudge. What was I saying? So you've moved forward 20 in turn 1, so then turn 2 Mephiston pops out and can basically have a threat range of like 34 inches. So I think that's totally legit. Hold on, I have the glue in all the wrong places. I think that's totally legit, but the other options I think, or what I would put in the impulsor beyond Mephiston or beyond an apothecary and Blade Guard vets, is Blade Guard vets or assault intercessors or maybe Death Company intercessors. But personally, I think if you're going to run a Death Company, I kind of prefer the Firstborn. You just get more weapon options, and generally, to me, it just seems like they're the better choice. So, assault intercessors in the impulsor with Mephiston or something. Evening all, how is everything going? Evening Michael, or Mikey, sorry. Yeah, everything is going really well. Finally getting a little bit of time. So I've decided to make this guy real quick because everybody is running Blood Angels, like a, whatever you would call it, a support librarian. Loads of people are running a support librarian. This camera is lagging on me tonight. I don't know why. Nothing is different. Is it maybe if I get notifications it lags, or is it just lagging? Not sure. So everybody's building these support librarians, so I thought I'd better have a support one. And I know that some people are building them with the jetpack, like a regular librarian with the jetpack, but I just went for Terminator armor. It gives them 1 more wound, it gives them invulnerable save, and I mean, I get a combi melta with it as well, so I mean, I think it's good. Favourite litany? I mean, that's really situational, Matthew. When I'm running, so I've been running that chaplain on a bike a little bit, and the litanies that I was taking were Mantra of Strength. Obviously, Canticle of Hate has insane value if used right. And then, you know, Litany of Hate is good for the rerolls, Litany of Faith is good for the protection against mortal wounds. So like litanies are pretty situational, but I guess if I was gonna run, like, if I have a librarian and he only has, sorry, if I have a chaplain and he only has one litany, then it's probably going to be Mantra of Strength, so he just buffs himself, or it's going to be Canticle of Hate, so he gives that bonus to the charge rerolls. If we have multiple litanies, then we're probably going to take both of those, depending on who you're fighting against. So if you're fighting against like an army like Death Guard or Thousand Suns, or someone that's going to be shitting out mortal wounds at you, then Litany of Faith does have a lot of value there as well. So it's hard to say exactly what my favourite litany is on... Yeah, I don't know. I think it's situational to a certain extent. Looking forward to seeing the release of separate Blade Guard sets. Also, Heavy Intercessors. Yeah, I really thought we were going to get Heavy Intercessors last year, Mikey. It seems like... I guess the pandemic has just really slowed everything down big time. So whenever Heavy Intercessors are ready to be released, I guess, I will make some sort of video on them. I kind of did a video on them way back at the start of 9th edition, and I actually guessed how many points they were going to cost based on like how much better they were than regular Intercessors, or how different they were. And I guessed exactly right. But because it was guesswork, I feel like I should probably make another video on them. Do you know what? This sprue has like a hand. You can see it here. I'm not going to use this hand, but I love getting little things like this on sprues so that you can do some sort of custom work. And I thought long and hard over this Terminator in that, like, he's obviously got an axe. You can see it in this picture right here. And I thought to myself, like, long and hard, do I want an axe on this guy, or do I want a sword? Because, like, the advantage of the sword is you get that big -3 from turn 1, and the advantage of the axe potentially is that you wound toughness 5 on 2s. But sometimes wounding on 2s, you know, it might not be as good as the additional AP you would get from the sword. But, like, this guy's probably not going to get into combat all that much in turn 1, right? Like, not that many of your units do get into combat turn 1. Maybe he gets in turn 2, but it's much more likely he's going to be in turn 3 and onwards. So I feel like if he's much more likely to be in combat turn 3 onwards, then we're going to have the additional -1 from Assault Doctrine anyway, so his axe will be -3, and he'll still have that, be able to do wounds to toughness 5 on 2s, because the axe is +2 strength. So that kind of swung it for me. Like, I was legitimately thinking about, like, I actually looked around on, like, the website. It was like, is there another model I could buy to get a Force Sword, because I don't really have a spare one. The answer is no, there's not really a good model for it unless you went and bought maybe like a Primaris Librarian or Phobos Librarian, and maybe you could convert the sword off. But yeah, no, I'm going to stick with it. Oogie Man says, I'm thinking of getting the Blood Angels Combat Patrol Box and building a Crusade army around it. Is it worth it? I mean, the Patrol Box is fine. I wouldn't say it's the most amazing set for Blood Angels, right? Because, like, you get regular Intercessors, and I mean, if you don't have any Intercessors, like regular Intercessors, you just need some troop choices, then that's totally fine. But, like, in competitive play, I don't feel like there's much of a place for the regular Intercessors. And then Aggressors are in a bit of a weird spot right now. Aggressors they were kind of as good as Eradicators last build or last patch. I'm going to reset this camera in a minute and see if I can stop it lagging. But Aggressors have definitely been nerfed a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, if you are buying the Combat Patrol Box, just be aware that, like, Aggressors are still okay. I think I'm just really upset with the nerfs that they got because they were really strong. Alright, so this camera is probably going to go off for a minute. Let me just try and reboot that. Let's see. Okay, we'll see if that's any better. I've been testing a bunch of Blood Angels things lately, and I think they're awesome compared to my own list, but curious, is there anything that you think Space Wolves do better than Blood Angels? I mean, I honestly haven't looked so much at the 9th. Yeah, this camera is really lagging tonight. I do not have a clue why. Try again. I haven't looked so much at the Space Wolf 9th edition book, right? Like, I know in 8th edition there was loads of ways that they can heroically intervene and stuff like this, and generally they were quite strong. And do you know what? I do actually have 2 friends that play Space Wolves, but we haven't had a game in 9th edition. It seems a bit random that we haven't had a game. I mean, it's just the fact that one of the friends, he doesn't live so close, so it's a bit more organisation, and I guess COVID has made that. So I will get a game against Space Wolves. I mean, I can probably do it live on the channel, like a month or something, a month from now, probably after the next lockdown ends. But right now, I don't know if they do anything better than us, I guess is the answer. Maybe someone in the chat can tell you that. I've been very focused on just making sure that my Blood Angels lists are like top tier and winning games. And yeah, I mean, Space Wolves are fine. Right, I'm sorry if I don't know why the camera is lagging a little bit. I've tried rebooting the camera, I've tried rebooting that it uses. Something is just playing up tonight. I suggest a power axe. Well, I mean, this is the Force axe, so it's basically the same thing. It's +2 strength, -2 AP, and then I just think the difference is where a power axe is now flat 2 damage. Sorry, the axe from the librarian is D3. So potentially the D3 damage is actually going to be better against like the new Death Guard rules and stuff like that, right? Because Death Guard are going to get -1 to all damage. But if you have 1 damage, then obviously that doesn't count. This is a pretty cool model. I've never owned this guy before. Wow, that base has got like a honking bit of something sticking off of it. I think the combat patrol box is good value for the money for me. I want an impulsor, infiltrators, intercessors anyway, so the rest of the box is a bonus for £63 as a bargain. Yeah, I mean the amount of models you get in it for the price is pretty decent, right? What psychic spells are you guys using on your librarians? I have one from Space Hulk, but that's it at the moment. So the one from Space Hulk, I don't know if is it the new Space Hulk you've got, Dracula. And Cade says he thinks aggressors are still good. Yeah, maybe aggressors are still decent. You know, it's just I was so upset. I just haven't played them, and maybe because I used to run my aggressors right next to the standard of sacrifice, right? So they were like super survivable, and then they could advance and shoot with no penalty, and they could stand still and shoot twice. I think it was the stand still and shoot twice thing that I absolutely loved. Because I always felt like if you played tactically in the middle of the map, you could always have a turn in the game where you were like, you didn't have to move, right? I think the versatility of Space Wolf Terminators make them taking Terminators quite good. And then Nick is jumping into the channel. Nick, hello, how you doing? Good to see you. Nick, since you are here in the channel, the cards you sent me for free arrived today, so thank you for that, and I will send you the model that I made for you on stream a few weeks back. Much appreciated. I did have a very quick look through them this morning, and I also got a postcard from you for Christmas, which was a surprise. I wasn't expecting anything, so thanks for that. And this guy, I think this is quite a cool model actually. So I guess we will try him in a battle in the near future. And I think the spells that I was thinking about on this guy, obviously because he's in Terminator armor, he's going to need to take wings, right? So that he can fly and keep up with whoever else is out there on the battlefield. So if we take Winds of Sanguinius as one, we'd either take like Psychic Fortress or Shield of Sanguinius as another one, so we can either give a unit 18 inches away the invulnerable save, or we can bubble are invulnerable save. I guess it depends on what units you've got in the battlefield that you need invulnerable saves. Then I was thinking you make him Chief Librarian for the extra points, and from there you would then be able to take one more power. The other power I would take would be Veil of Time, which I believe gives one unit the ability to reroll charges and fight first. So if you end up against some sort of army that is going to make you fight last, aka like Death Guard, or if the enemy has a Judicar or something, then you can counter that with the Fight First psychic spell. And then finally, you can also give him a relic. I believe it's called the Tomb of Malachor. And again, it's from the Space Marine book. And if you give him that relic, you get the option to take a 4th psychic power. So there's a lot you can do with... I mean, if you took the regular Librarian and you didn't need to take wings, you just put a jump pack on him, then I don't know what would be your 4th power, because you wouldn't need wings so much. But... yeah, I mean, it's certainly an interesting... he's certainly an interesting character, this Utility Librarian. I think I'm just going to run him in Terminator Armour. Wings, probably Shield of Sanguinius, because I usually run like a super heavy tank like we have here, so I want him to be able to shield the super heavy tank even if he's far away from it. And then... Veil of Time, probably, so that it can make sure that my units that need to fight first will always get to fight first. And the reason I was asking if you have the one from Space Hulk was if it's the Terminator from Space Hulk, I didn't realise this, but that was actually supposed to be Mephiston before he went through the Black Rage, because if you read the rulebook for Space Hulk, it actually tells you that his name is Calistarius, which was the name of Mephiston before he fell for like whatever it was, 3 days and 3 nights. And then came out the other side, survived from the Black Rage. I'd like to discuss the pros and cons of axes v swords. Is one of those things that makes me dislike what you see is what you get rule. I mean, yeah, I think I sort of covered it. Give me 1 second, I'm going to grab some paint here. So yeah, the disadvantage of axes is if you fight against any army that can, like if you fight against another marine army that can use transhuman, or you fight against like some of the Necrons have that where you can't wound them on unmodified rolls of 1, 2, and 3. So you fight against something that can make it harder to wound, then the axes are weaker than the swords. But the axes do normally wound toughness 5 on 2s, which is generally very good. So the other thing to say then is that the swords have the bonus of the AP, and if you do get hit by something like that's going to make it harder to wound, then you don't have to deal with that so much. And what do you think are best troop choice for having squads sit on points and can shoot away at anything they can? The best troop choice, in my opinion, right now for Blood Angels is 100% Phobos units. I tend to run infiltrators. I kind of love them, but I feel like you could run incursors as well. I actually just bought a squad of incursors the other night on eBay. It was $12.99 for 5, which I felt was very, very reasonably priced. I don't know. It said new. What did it say? It said like new listings. So I don't know if someone just put them up there to get rid of them quickly, or someone didn't know the value of them. But yeah, I just snapped them up for $12. I was like, I must have just been on eBay at the right place, right time. So. I made a video on troops just 2 weeks ago or something like that. What's your name, Jace? So you could totally watch that video if you want, and I compare the Phobos units against all the non-Phobos units, and yeah, they're just generally better, I guess. It makes me not want to model my minis for fear of having to remodel them. So if you're talking about Sanguinary Guard, Nick, and you want to be modeling. If you want to model your Sanguinary Guard, then the way I've done it is, like, you're probably going to need to have 10 Sanguinary Guard models. Maybe... I feel like you're going to have 10. Like, I think when I first made my Sanguinary Guard, I think I had about 9. And then since then I've bought 2 more boxes. So, like, I now have 2 Sanguinary Ancients and, like, let's say about 18 regular Sanguinary Guard. And... for a long, long time, I always put axes in my army over swords, so I'd always have power fists and axes. And nowadays, I do tend to run a few power fists in every battle, because I always feel like you could end up in against a target that's very difficult to kill, right? So like you want to have some power fists in there, so if you end up against a target that's normally difficult to kill, you can still kill it. But axes and swords, like it's potatoes. What's this phrase? It's potatoes, or it's 6 and half a dozen, right? Like you're gonna end up like it's so situational. Every battle is different, but I don't really think you can make the wrong call. You know, like when I get a list review, if someone's put down all swords or all axes for the Sanguinary Guard, I mean, the way I look at it is it's just the same. It's going to be stronger against some and slightly weaker against others. So I think if you're holding off making your Sanguinary Guard, just make them. You'll be fine as long as you have a good mix in there. And then if you do a good mix, then 6 months down the line, if you think, do you know what, in my current meta, the swords just always do better for me, then just buy another box of guys with swords. I mean, or at that point chop the arms off. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I'm sure everybody's had to chop off an arm or two in their day. What's your favourite troops? 100%. Every list that I run is 2 squads of infiltrators. The full boss troops are just so survivable. They're basically our most survivable troops. The fact that they can smokescreen is really amazing, and they don't do bad in melee combat either. The infiltrators also auto wound any target on rolls of 6s when you're hitting, so generally you can, you know, even if you're shooting against tanks and stuff, they can do wounds against it. I mean, like I just generally rate the full boss units very high. Like I said, I did a video just a few weeks ago on those. You could definitely check it out if you're new to the channel. Oogie says, I have the Blood Angels Terminator Librarian. I did him with the hand, so now I can use whichever gun I wish, or points allow for it. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad call, Oogie. Tell me that right after I've stuck the Melta-Gun on. But do you know what? I love having Infernal Pistols and Melta-Guns on characters. I always feel like the characters are usually in a, you know, like, especially like a character like him who can potentially fly, they're always going to end up in a position where they can shoot that one Melta round off, and do you know what? Sometimes you'll make a kill out of it. Sometimes it'll miss, right? Like I've been in plenty of games where it misses, but when it hits, it's always a little bit extra fun. Cade says the shoot twice was great. Yeah, I mean the Aggressor's shoot twice was just. That's probably why I haven't run the Aggressors, just because like I felt like it was such a big change. But yeah, you're probably right. Aggressors are probably still fine. They just dropped a little bit down in sort of the tiering list because they lost the ability to shoot twice, I guess. The post takes so long right now, but I'm glad you got them. Yeah, thank you, Nick. I'm glad to finally get them, and yeah, I'll send you this model. Some point soon, and I guess you'll get it in a month's time. I guess the COVID or whatever has slowed down all the international post and stuff like that. Buon says, are you able to take spells from different disciplines, e.g. Wings of Sanguinius and Veil of Time? You are able to take spells from different disciplines if you're running. Basically, the ones that can't take spells from different disciplines are Librarian Dread and Mephiston. If you're running like a regular Librarian, or like the one that I just picked up, the Librarian and Terminator Armor, then yes, you can take spells from different disciplines. And I think that is... I mean, that's the reason that loads of people... In the Blood Angels competitive scene right now, that's the reason why loads of people are... what am I trying to say? Loads of people are picking up the sort of utility Librarian. So he's nowhere near as killy as Mephiston or... Librarian Dreadnought, but he does do work, I guess, or he can do some good work. Finally catching one of your streams live. By the blood, but it's good. There's a BA commander. Thank you for all your great content. All right, sorry, I was struggling with reading, which I do quite often actually. But yeah, that's very kind of you. Covered in bees. I'm glad that you enjoy the content. We have a cool video coming out tomorrow. I'm just really sad that like I'd been working really hard to basically get set up so we could stream more live games, and right when we were able to stream our live games, we got to do one day of streaming, and then the country went back into like a COVID lockdown. So I'm really sad about that, and honestly, I'm really missing playing 40k. So hopefully we'll be back soon. And do you know what? It's actually not a bad thing, because by the time we're back, I'll have I guess like we have a bunch of members now. Shout out to the members that are in chat. If you're a member of the channel, then your name is in green and you get custom emojis. So thank you for being a member. Basically, the members give me a few bucks every month, and yeah, I'm just basically investing it in like a better camera so that we can do better live games. I'm actually buying a new microphone so that the quality of the live games will be better as well. So I guess there's hopefully once we come out this other lockdown side, whatever, things will be pretty cool. So yeah, thanks for tuning in for the first time. Covered in Bees, appreciated it. And Marcel says, greetings brother. Hey Marcel, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. What do you think about the deep striking with BAs since the codex? The best I can come up. I just lost my camera. I don't know what is going on with the camera tonight. I am sorry. This camera did this one time before, and the only way to fix it was going to be to reboot the computer. Well, I can't reboot the computer when I'm in the middle of the stream, so that's super annoying. What do you think about deep striking with BAs since the codex? The best I can come up with is Death Company plus Lamartis and the Auto Litany for 7-inch rerollable. I'd love some more options for the fluff. Well, I mean, tomorrow's video is going to be about deep striking, kind of, in that tomorrow we're covering Drop Pod, and what we've done is we've math hammered the shit out of like various different things we could put in the Drop Pod for like a turn 1 Alpha Strike. It's got 5 different options, so I guess if you have a decent sized Blood Angels army, there's probably going to be one of the options that I've covered for you. And yeah, I mean, what you say is legit though, is that, you know, that's kind of the best you can do, in that you can have that 7-inch charge, and that with a reroll that is a 83% charge from my understanding. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of our, like, if you're just trying to do a deep strike charge, then that is kind of our best option, quote unquote. And Northern Hero says, greeting brothers, I miss anything good. All we did, Northern, before you got on, was we built this guy, who I've been, you know, like, I think you maybe overheard that we're talking that the reason to build a librarian that's not Mythostorm or the Librarian Dreadnought is so that we can run all the psychic powers. And in some matchups, then that's going to be kind of important. You know, like if you're fighting up against an army that has those rules to make you fight last, if you don't have something to deal with that, then you're going to have some problems, and that's one of the things that utility librarian can bring to the table. What are we all working on the chat this evening? I finished the first 6 models for my army this week, currently finishing 10 intercessors and 3 eradicators. Yeah, if you're working on something in chat, shout it out. I'd love to hear what everybody's working on. I actually had been wanting to work on this tank for a few nights, because I think the last time I was working on this tank was Saturday night. But yeah, it's just been another really busy week for me, I guess. So I hadn't planned to do that FAQ video, but on the live stream last week, everybody was like, do an FAQ video. So I was like, alright, I'll do the FAQ video. So that kind of took up some of the evening when I was going to be working on this guy. Northern Hero says, I'm not working on anything today. Lost heat in my hobby space garage due to a nasty storm here last night. Oh wow, okay. Where are you based, Northern Hero? I mean, we've been having some weather, and there's been some weather warnings, but like, I don't know if we've had any storms yet. Krychek, evening brothers, working my Primaris Chaplain on a bike, just blocked in the gold. Thank God I don't play Chaos, that would be a nightmare. I love hearing about all you guys building the Primaris, the Chaplain on the bike and the Chapter Master on the bike, with the ability now to take that sort of double Warlord trait. I just think they're so strong, right? They're so fun as well, and I know some people in the in the Facebook groups, and some people even on the channel have been like, well, I'm still going to play with Dante. I'm like, yeah, if you still want to use Dante, like, don't let me stop you at all. Like, I want you guys to play what you want to play. I just give you the numbers, but like, in some ways, I do actually want you to try the bikes, because once you've tried them in a battle or two, you're going to be like, holy crap, these bikes are strong. I couldn't believe it when that guy shot 12 meltaguns at that chapter master on the bike and he lost 2 wounds. And he had rerolls ones to hit and he had rerolls ones to wound. Like, I was so sure that bike captain was dead. I was like, this guy is toast. 12 meltaguns at point blank range. It was like, oh, he's lost 2 wounds. I was like, okay. Like, I think my opponent literally at that point died inside a little bit because he was like, yeah. Shame, Northern Hero. I hope everything gets sorted. Yeah, I hope you get sorted. I mean, it sucks when the weather does damage to your house. I've had it happen before, and yeah, especially when it costs you money. That's just the worst, right? I was going to be running Lamartes, but I don't see enough value now that Forlong Fury has changed. Yeah, I mean, the Forlong Fury change is a real kicker for the Death Company. It's really annoying that they made that change so quickly after releasing the rulebook, but I mean, I guess the one thing to say about Forlong Fury being changed is, I mean, there's still some ways to get your turn 1 charge with the Death Company, and I mean, you could still do a drop pod as well, so you could still have like 2 turn 1, there is still multiple ways to get turn 1 charges off, and I guess with the change they made to the Red Grail, there is still ways to get multiple charges with Savage Echoes off in turn 1, so I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I was a little bit annoyed with the Forlong Fury change, but I think overall it's fine-ish. Buon says, I'm working on some infiltrators after the BA commander made that video. I'm excited to get them on the objectives turn 1. You will love infiltrators, dude. Once you've run them a few times, you'll be like me. They're like auto include. They're so good. I like, you know, when you're at you've made your list, or you're making an army list, and you've got like 90% of it in, and you're trying to fill those last 5 points or those last 10 points, and you're like juggling options. You're like, oh well, I could drop this Thunderhammer here. I could drop 1 unit out of this squad. The infiltrators never even get debated, right? They're just like, oh yeah, you just need them in your list. Like, they're that good. And Krychek says, nice one, Guilty Gaming. He's cracking mini, I recommend sub-assemb. Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I always sort of think to myself, like, at some point I should do sub-assemblies, but look at this guy that I'm painting right now. This is going to be another ridiculous tank, painted with no sub-assemblies, and yeah. You just make it work. You just make it work, buddy. D-King says, I need to get my army ready for a stream. So I need to finish 15 Terminators and a Bike Captain. Who's, what YouTube page or what Twitch page are you streaming on, D-King? I didn't know that you played live games. I'm definitely going to run 2x5 Infiltrators on my list. Great for either starting on the board mid-objective or holding ones in the deployment zone and screening the back line. Yeah, I mean, basically it's kind of funny in that every game I do on my channel, even, like I said, like I've built like loads of new lists because I'm like super excited about 9th edition, and like, I guess now that we've got our codex, I'm trying to build the strongest list that I can build, and I'm trying to build it so it's good against like all different factions, and yeah, just in every single list I always have those 2 infiltrator squads. They just don't get debated out. I just find them too useful. Like you said, they're too good at screening, and map control is a really big thing in 9th edition, so if you can sort of win the map control battle straight at the beginning for an extra 20 points they cost you over intercessors, then I'd probably pay those 20 points every day of the week, right? Building Lamartes and using the Lord Executioner model, thinking of using the Lord Executioner model as a Lost Captain. Do you know what Mikey, I have, what was I going to say? I have ordered some models to be a Lost Captain this week, but I'll tell you what I was thinking for a Lost Captain, and you can tell me, I suppose, if you think it's good or not. You might have a different opinion on it, but I was thinking for the Lost Captain, what might be quite nice would be the Teeth of Terra, right? Because it's kind of cheap in terms of points. So we could have a Lost Captain with like a Storm Shield in the Teeth of Terra, and if my math is correct, right? So he's got like, I think I worked out that he can have 10 attacks. Does a Captain normally have 5 attacks? I thought a Captain maybe just had 4. Because the Teeth of Terror gives you +3 attacks, then Savage Echoes gives you another 2, so that's 5. So whatever number of attacks the Captain starts with, I feel like a regular Captain starts with 4, but maybe it's 5. Someone can tell me in the chat how many attacks a Captain would start with, but I was convinced that I'd worked out that the Lost Captain could get 10 attacks from the Teeth of Terra. And then obviously because he's the Lost Captain, you would get that additional Feel No Pain save, which I felt was going to be pretty useful as well. So Storm Shield and Teeth of Terra to keep his points down, but also make him very, very killy. Did you see Auspex Tactics just did a battle report with a Bite Captain, Blood Angels? I did see his battle report. I didn't see that he had a Bite Captain. I thought he said he had Dante. I did sort of skim it, so maybe I need to go back and look at it. But yeah, no, I commented on that video actually because it was the one he did on Tabletop Simulator, right? Because I don't own Tabletop Simulator. I hadn't planned on getting it. I know in the last lockdown, loads of people got it and they were playing on it, but like, I was just like, I'll just wait this one out. But like, if this lockdown's now going to be a few months, then maybe I will consider getting Tabletop Simulator. I think it's pretty cheap. Lamartis is such a cool character. The change to FF is fine. I can just spend the points for Lamartis F elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, or you could use a drop pod. Like, a drop pod is the other way to get that turn 1 charge, right? And if you think about like our chapter champion that we talked about last week, you could put the chapter champion into the drop pod, and then everything coming out of the drop pod can reroll charges as well. So. Basically what I'm trying to tell you is tomorrow I have a video going up about drop pods, so you should totally watch it, and maybe it'll be interesting to you, I guess. I've been talking a lot about drop pods as of late, and like, I actually don't own a drop pod myself, but I kind of think I'm going to get one for 9th, and I kind of think that like, well, you'll see after the video I did tomorrow. I kind of think I know what I'm going to put inside it. So, Highland says greetings. Good evening, Highland. How you doing? Nice to see you. It's Gitly, not guilty. Okay, Gitly. I will get that right from now on. Sorry about that, bro. There's so many names of people on this channel that I'm probably pronouncing wrong, so if anyone else's name is pronounced wrong, just let me know and I will fix it. Sorry about that. Like I said, I'm really not the best with... It's kind of ironic in that like I'm not the best at reading. Like, I'm very mathematical. I guess that's why you see all my videos are like maths based, and like I just want to know like, will this unit kill that unit? And I do very well in the battlefield. Like, I got an A in maths, but I actually almost failed English. So it's kind of funny that like on the channel I do a lot of talking and stuff, and it's like, yeah, English is something that I am not good at. You kind of just have to punch fear in the face, you know. But no, this tank is going to be super cool. It's actually not going to take as long as I thought, maybe. Doing Assault Terminators. What am I best taking? Storm Shields with Thunderhammers or Claws? I always play a dude with Repulsors and Reavers. Repulsors and Reavers? That seems like a very random combination, Carrion, because if you ask me, neither of those units are very good. Reavers are no AP in melee, and like their pistol is -2. Whoop-de-doo, they get 1 damage pistol with -2, you know. And then repulsors, they just aren't very survivable anymore, and they got no invulnerable save. They got no minus to charge anymore. I mean, I suppose they do if you pay CP to do it, but like, do you really want to be wasting CP on a minus roll to charge? It seems like there's more valuable things you could be spending CP on, that's for sure. But what would I take then? I don't know. I mean, I suppose it depends on where you drop them in, but like, what about if you're doing Terminators? I like the idea of putting the Thunder Hammer on the Sergeant, right? Because the Sergeant gets that additional attack, so I'd rather have the additional attack on the Thunder Hammer. Usually he's going to be the last one to survive, or the last one alive as well, right? So Thunder Hammer on the Sergeant, and then maybe two of both, something like that. I mean, it depends on if you were dedicated to one squad's going after tanks and one squad's going after the Reavers, then do a squad of Thunderhammers and do a squad of Storm Shields. But if you're not sure where you're going to be fighting and you're going to have to react, then sort of a mixed squad with the Sergeant having Thunderhammer, I think, is going to be strongest. I don't really. My local gaming store is doing stream games now, inviting local players to play. OBG streams. Oh, that's pretty cool. I'll check it out. It is pretty cool to do stream games. So yeah, if you're going to do a stream game, then let us know in the Facebook group. I'm sure a few people in the group would love to watch. Ah, look at that. Bloody hell. That is a mistake and a half. May as well have just painted the side of the thing grey. But yeah, so I guess if you're doing a stream game, post in the Facebook group and let us know, and I'm sure some of us will tune in and watch. And then we'll tell you what you did wrong afterwards. That's always the fun part with the stream games, right? Finished my Fiston and posted him to the Facebook group the other day. Super happy with how it turned out. Also really pleased with the neon tufts I got from Gamergrass. I try and reply to every post on Facebook, right? But like during the day, I can't really reply when I'm at my day job. So maybe I missed Fiston, or I hope I replied. I'm trying my best anyway to reply to everything. But yeah, when I'm at my day job, like I generally don't use Facebook. So if I missed that, then I am sorry. Interesting, might look into that. Thanks, dude. Pedrog says, first CPT is 4 base attacks, Prime is 5 base attacks. His captain was 2 chain swords and 1 with the Teeth of Terra. That's a lot of attacks. Yay for drop pods. I don't know then. I convinced myself that I was going to be able to do 10 attacks with the Teeth of Terra on a regular captain, not a Primaris. So, I don't know where I got that from then. Oh yeah, no, it is 10 attacks. Because you got your 4 base attacks, you got your 2 attacks from Savage Echoes, you got 3 extra from the Teeth of Terra, and then because he's part of the Lost and he's joined the Death Company, he's got the Black Rage, right? And that's an additional attack. So it is 10 attacks. So I was thinking 130 points, Captain on a bike, Storm Shield, the Lost. So the Storm Shield, he's 100 points for the Captain on the bike. So that's toughness 5, 6 wounds. 10 points for the Storm Shield, so he has the 2 up save. And then Teeth of Terra for 10 attacks. 130 points model with 10 attacks. Hitting on 5s. Sorry. Hitting on 2s. Strength 5 with +1 because of Red Thirst. And then -2 and 2 damage. I think that's actually genuinely quite a scary character for 130 points, right? I mean, he's not going to do all that much against armor, but like, he'll just destroy infantry. And I mean, I already have that other captain, the crazy one, like the Chapter Master with the Thunderhammer, for like, he can go kill some armor. And have that guy just rolling about killing infantry, and like he's going to have a 2+, 4+, and then the 6+ Feel No Pain, and he can, because he's Death Company, he can use all those Death Visions, and he can also use Refusal to Die for 1 CP to make his Feel No Pain 5+ for a turn. So if you really need him to survive, you can. Sorry, a little bit of a tangent there. Quite a few people tuning in now. Cool. Good evening, everybody that's tuning in. Life RPG says, Happy New Year, mate. Okay, I am miles behind in the chat. Let's get caught up for a minute. Drop pods are cool. I was purely using Friendly Fire to distract turn 1. I was using FF to distract turn 1. Forlorn Fury, sorry, to distract turn 1 and clear screens for turn 2 charges. Drop pods will mean reducing other options. Gotta get as many Sanguinary Guardian as possible. Brother, we shall know no fear. Yeah, wait till you see this drop pod list tomorrow. We actually talked about this a little bit, Pedroig. So I've done that comparison where I told you about bringing a shitload of Vanguard vets with combi guns, combi meltless, combi flamers. So we've got that in tomorrow's video. Drop pods are a trap, totally unnecessarily in 9th edition, as you don't need to get that far anymore. All you need is objectives, the rest can burn. I mean, there is that new Relentless Assault objective, or secondary, that we can take, right, as Blood Angels, which is pretty cool. Easy way to score a lot of points on the secondary with... what am I trying to say? With the drop pod, it would be very easy to score a lot of points on Relentless Assault, I feel like. So, I guess there's that as an option. Never use Forlorn Fury to use multiple units, just to jam one big Death Company unit down the opponent's line and clear chaff. Yeah, I mean, it was a very short amount of time that we could use it on multiple units, right? Just for, like, from the beginning of December when the Codex came out until, like, they FAQ'd it at the beginning of January. So, probably just, like, 1 month there you could have used Forlorn Fury multiple times. I never got to run it multiple times. I mean, my lists currently don't have they just have one Death Company in them. So, and at that point, like, I still haven't made this Death Company champion yet, so just have to wait on that a little while. Life RPG says, got a tournament coming up in a few days, going to try Dev Centurion, Suppressors, Sanguinary Guard, and a Sanguinary Priest. I'm not so sure Dev Centurions are really cost effective. I mean, maybe if you've got the Sanguinary Priest there and you can res them, because they're like 80 points per model or something, right? And they're not core. I mean, I feel like that might be viable, but at the same time, holy crap, you're paying like 240 points for 6 las cannons or something, and you can't get any rerolls on them. I suppose it depends on how you've armed your Dev Centurions, but I feel like if I was going to take them, I'd probably take them with the las cannons. You realise drop pods can hold objectives. Yeah, I mean, drop pod. I'm going to mention that in the video tomorrow. Drop pods, in some of the maps, drop pods can do actions. You need to be very careful with what actions. We played a map, I can't remember what map it was. It was the battle against the Iron Hands that was live on stream, and my opponent Andrew was doing actions with the drop pod. I think it's only certain actions that can be done, but it's like any unit, if it says any unit can do the action, then the drop pod can actually do the actions. So I guess you have to be aware of that as well. Alright, I'm kind of sick of painting grey. I know that I haven't got all the bits done, but I think I'm just going to do some red because I'm sick of grey. When you're painting a model like this and it's just huge swaths of the model that need and I always do multiple coats as well, probably because I'm an idiot or because I try and keep my whole army consistent, and this is the way that I've always painted it. So I'm going to have to basically do all these tracks again with like silver next, right? And then I'm going to wash them all and stuff. So I'm just going to move on, paint some red, get this nice and vibrant, I think. Do you know what, will I paint over that bit? Might try and clean that up with my knife. I think drop pods have a use, same as jump packs. Any unit in Deep Strike is a unit that cannot be shot until it arrives. It allows Blood Angels players to choose when our models are in danger. Yeah, that's very true, Nukem. Yeah, I mean, some people prefer tank transports to pods. I tend to run as few transports as possible, right? Because transports are just transports, they're not killing things. I mean, I guess that's why our jump units are so popular, right? Because you just jump. You don't need to waste points on transports and stuff like that. And drop pods can carry dreadnoughts. Yeah, there is a specific one you can buy from Forge World that carries dreadnoughts, but I think it only carries dreadnoughts under 10 wounds now. I think they made a change, or maybe it's like it can't carry Leviathan dreadnoughts. I feel like there was definitely a change made to the dreadnought drop pod. I'd have to dig into it to see. And Smithy says 33 viewers but only 10 likes on the video. Come on guys and girls, we need this video up. That's very kind of you, man. I always do appreciate you guys when you hit that like button and stuff. It seems so stupid that YouTube bases everything on how much people like it, but I mean, I guess it's because it's an algorithm. It determines. So if you watch like the whole video when I put it up on a Friday but you don't hit the like button, I guess it doesn't know that you like it. I mean, like, I've been doing YouTube wrong for years in my personal life thing, because I watch a shitload of videos by people and I very, very rarely, if ever, hit the like button. But I mean, I'm subscribed to them and I watch them every week, I just don't necessarily like it, right? But thanks for shouting the house, Smith. Evening Chris, how you doing? Death Company champion. I don't think you can make a Death Company champion, can you? Because I think the champion can only be a... I think if to join the Death Company you have to be a lieutenant or a captain. I'm like 90% sure on that. I don't... It's a pity, it would be quite cool to make a Death Company champion. I have the model that I'm going to make him, and I might paint him a bit Death Company. Let me show you this guy, see what you think. So it's a bit of a conversion. And I put a Blade Guard veteran head on him, and I'm going to try and put the Storm Shield on the. Well, it's a combat shield, isn't it? So I'm going to try and stick it onto that arm like that. But they're going to paint him first because it overlaps the shoulder pad quite significantly, and I'll paint under the shoulder pad first. So that should be a cool. So yeah, I just always giving myself more to do. It seems like it never ends, but I mean that's the beauty of the hobby. Alright, Carrion, if you want to pick up more for claws, yeah, do it. I don't know about... The reason that I don't run Terminator so much, right, I guess, is that it's probably like just the mobility. Like I really like the mobility of the jump pack units, and mobility is really important in 9th edition, especially with that change to turn 5. So now you score your primaries and certain objectives at the end of turn 5 now if you go second. I mean, that's gonna make mobility even more important, and as a Blood Angel will really be in a good position to deal with that. Please talk a bit more about the Death Company champion. I don't think you can make a Death Company champion. I mean, if you want me to talk about the Death Company guy on the bike, I can talk about that, because I think I designed him, right? So at the moment, let me just turn this camera off and go to my desktop a second. So at the moment I do all my army lists in Excel, and this was the one that I was looking at where it's like he's just a captain on a bike and he's just part of the Lost, and he's got the Storm Shield and he's got the Teeth of Terra, and that's 130 points. But I mean, I'm also running in this army list the regular captain on the bike with the Gift of Foresight, the Chapter Master, the Adamantium Mantle, the Angel's Artifice, the Thunderhammer, and the Storm Shield. So this is like an unkillable captain who can kill armor, and then this is a very reasonable captain who can kill infantry. And then we have this new Librarian Terminator armor with Veil of Time, with Unleash Rage, with Wings of Sanguinius. I've actually put Iron Resolve on him as well, so he's got Feel No Pain as well. So all 3 of my characters in this list would have Feel No Pains. And I actually have a column here on like what I actually need to paint next to get this army done. So I have so many points painted, but like all this shit is unpainted apparently. So yeah, fun times, right? It never ends. The one you said, hopefully that shows you the one I said. I'm not sure which model you're asking, if it's magnetised, Pedrog. Is this thing magnetised? No, not at all. I mean, if you can magnetise, go for it. Like, it is generally a good option to magnetise. this tank, I just didn't think that I was going to ever change its weapons. If you're going to run a super heavy tank, then you want maximum firepower on it, right? So I just decided that the super heavy tank is always going to have las cannons on the sides. It could have had heavy bolters, but like that's not what it's there by bat. Like I got plenty of other things that heavy bolters that will kill things like heavy bolters. I generally don't have any other las cannons in the army, so this tank isn't magnetized if that's what you're asking. Razorback, Land Raider, Crusader, Repulsor can all transport and kill. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're probably right. Land Raiders are the only thing that I've really run. I haven't run any Razorbacks in 9th edition, and I think I ran my Repulsor once, maybe twice, but it just dies so damn easily, the Repulsor. That 3+ save with Assault, with like the Space Marine Doctrines, very quickly you can end up just having no save on the Repulsor. You just need like so any sort of melta gun or las cannon will end up with no save, and when you've like a Repulsor's like 350 odd points or something. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's a lot of points, right? So I don't want to pay 350 odd points for a tank that can just die with no save, like in turn 1. That's my view on Repulsors. Dreadnought drop pod plus Librarian Dread plus Wings of Sanguinius turn 1 pain. You cannot cast you can cast Wings of Sanguinius after you arrive from Deep Strike, but you can't move. Right? Like there's no, because in the last edition Wings of Sanguinius was actually the thing that gave you the ability to reroll charges. They've moved that to quickening now. But so like if you drop in and cast a Wings of Sanguinius, you aren't allowed to move if you arrived in that turn from reinforcements. It's just like you'll find it in the rulebook. I don't remember exactly where it is, but it's a bit of like a caveat where it's just like if you arrive from reinforcements, unless it is a very specific thing, you can't move. So I had that same idea at one point with Nukem, with casting like Wings of Sanguinius after arriving from Deep Strike, but yeah, it just doesn't work. Mobility is Blood Angel strength, melee is the application of it. Yeah, I mean, I think you're exactly right there. Like, melee is the application of Blood Angels, and the mobility is very much their strength. That's why I think this change to turn 5 ruling is actually going to be pretty huge for us, right? Like, the amount of games in 9th edition, maybe I just lost by a couple of points, where, like, if I could now claim my secondaries at the end, or sorry, my primaries at the end of turn 5, all those games would have swung in my favour. I feel like that's going to be very, very, very good for us, and it also opens up some other interesting options. Like you could also, if you have a unit of, let's say, one unit, you have your Sangre Guard, right, and they've been battling the whole game, and you have one singular guy left in turn 4 or something. You could just play like Upon Wings of Fire to pick him off the board with the pure intent of like dropping him down and getting an objective in turn 5 to get a big victory point swing. Like there's definitely going to be some really interesting things to do with the rule changes or the scoring changes. I think it's just going to benefit us. I mean, it might, against like slow moving armies, it's going to do nothing, but for us it's going to be a huge benefit. Anytime we go second, I think we're gonna pick up more points for sure. Incoming noob question: when you're assembling your models, is it wise to keep their arms, weapons, or other bits low and close to the body in order to reduce line of sight, or is that really not a big deal? I mean, I kind of feel like it's not a big deal. I mean, like, I know that some people will give you an example, right? I know someone that will, when he's building units that come on like flight stands, like not put them on their flight stands. If you do that, if you went to a tournament or anything, people are going to say that you're modelling for an advantage, which is technically true. Like you're not supposed to model your units so that they get an advantage on the tabletop. I mean, if you have a guy with like a big sword raised in the air and he's the one guy in the squad with the sword raised in the air, and that's going to stop the whole unit going into cover, I feel like you're I feel like you're entitled to remodel that arm so that that one tip of the sword isn't pointing in the air and over the top of all the cover, right? Because it's like, if you can see any part of the unit, you can see them, right? So I think you could do something like that, but for the most part, no, I don't. Like, if I'm just making a regular squad, even if I'm making Sangre Guard that have wings on the back of them, I'm not overly worried about if the enemy is going to be able to shoot at them a little bit easier based on the placement of the wings. And I mean, I'm pretty competitive, right? Like, once you get to the tabletop against me, like, I will never give you an easy game. Like, I will fight. Even if I think I'm losing, I will fight to the bitter end. In the game against Iron Hands a few weeks back, when I lost my 615 point tank in turn 1 before it even shot, I feel like maybe that's the reason that I won the game, actually, is because my opponent thought that he was like, oh shit, we've killed the super heavy tank, we are going to win this game. And no, I fought to the absolute bitter end and took it by like 3 victory points. I mean, it was a super close game, but yeah, I mean, I generally don't think that's an issue, Chris. I think just make them how they look on the box and make them decent. Sorry, if I said Death Company Champion, I guess I meant Death Company Captain. Captain Champion, it all gets very confusing to me. And Pedrog says it's not really a big deal, Chris. If the game is that serious, it's not worth playing, really. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm serious about it, but at the same time, like, if somebody said to me, like, hey, can I see this unit? Or, hey, you know, I don't think the line of sight is going to make that much. You know, there's going to be other ways that you win or lose the game. One, trying to model your guys with their arms in so that they take up a slightly less profile or something. That's not going to. If you lose the game on that, then I don't know what to say. I think it's unlikely, right? Just got on what you're working on. This is a super heavy tank, and it is the Cerberus. So it has a strength 14 main cannon with 4 heavy 4, and if you put a Tech Marine next to it, obviously it can hit on 2s. And I think if the vehicle doesn't move, it does a flat 6 damage, which I love. I love the flat 6 damage. I love it more than almost anything in the world. It's the reason that I run one super heavy tank in my Blood Angels list typically, or at least I didn't start intending to run super heavy tanks. I just ran them because I had the model and I painted it, and it never really got on the battlefield before much. And I actually bought it one time, sort of like I played one of my first games against Knights. My friend played Knights, and I guess I was just getting into the hobby, or had been out of the hobby for a long time at that point, and I was just getting back in, and I got beat by a Knight army, and I was like, ugh, these Knights are so annoying, I need something that can shoot at them, because like most of my army was melee, right, because we are a Blood Angels army, and most of our army is melee. So I was like, right, I just need to buy something that will kill Knights, and the Falchion, which is my other super heavy tank, has a cannon that you get to reroll the wounds against Knights, and it does a flat 6 damage. Actually, in last edition, it did 2d6 damage. It wasn't flat 6. It was 2d6 damage, and I think you could either reroll the wounds or you could reroll the damage roll or something against Titanic units. So against Knights, it was just absolutely brilliant. But it was kind of too expensive to really play of a regular game, because it was like 900 and some points. So although I had it and it was a cool model, it just didn't get any play. So I started playing it in 9th edition when they dropped its points cost to like 600, and it was, it's just actually been winning games over and over and over, and all my friends know what I'm running in my list, because I just tell them, like, I'm running the same list that beat you last week, or I'm running the same list that beat your Death Guard last week, and they just keep coming along, and the list just keeps winning. So it sort of started as an experiment, and now it's turned into like. So we have a little chat, like, with the 4 guys that I usually play with in my little, in our little gaming room, and one of the guys said to me, he was like, "You haven't put in a battle report up on your channel for a while when you've lost." And I was like, "No, that's true enough." And he's like, "How come?" And I was like, "Well, you guys need to beat me, and then I'll put the battle report up." And he was like, "Very funny." And I was like, "No, very funny. I'm on an 8-game win streak with the super heavy tank." And he was like, "Wow, it's beating everybody." I was like, "Yeah." And the guy that was asking me, actually, he was the Khorne player, and I beat Khorne 82 against 19. So he got absolutely trounced by it. I mean, in some ways the tank was screened with like infiltrators, and you just couldn't get close to it, and he was a very melee focused Khorne army, and it just kept shooting things off the battlefield every turn. So yeah, so this is another super heavy tank, a smaller one, because I think the 615.1 is a little bit more expensive than I really want to run. Like, I do like to have sort of my themed Blood Angels list with most of my army close combat, so this tank can run like 450, so I think I can run this and feel more comfortable, or feel more thematic, I guess. And I think as well the 615 point tank is putting a lot of eggs in one basket. You know, if you lose that tank like I did against the Iron Hands in turn 1, I honestly thought I'd lost that game, but like I said, I fight to the bitter end, so managed to get the win in the end. Yeah, Chris, hopefully that answers your question. Also just joined, what tank is that? It's the Cerberus. It's a Forge World super heavy tank. I can show you a picture of what it should look like when it's finished. This is what. So basically, it's a Land Raider chassis, and you can have heavy bolters or las cannons on the side of it, and it's got like this twin. I just have one of the guns off. Like, I haven't stuck one of the last. So I just have two of the guns here. One of the third cannon. The third cannon for here is just in one of these boxes here. Actually, I don't know where I've put it, but I figured it'd be impossible to paint the. It'd be impossible to paint the cannons if all three of them are stuck in together. So. Just one of the cannons isn't stuck on yet. It's my number priority when building anything, storage. I guess that makes a lot of sense. Like, if you're transporting your models from tournaments or from like gaming rooms, then yeah, absolutely build your models so that they fit into your case or your transport. That could be very important. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I think some people model their Sanguinary Guard without wings for that point, but then I guess if you're going to go to a tournament and you've made your Sanguinary Guard without wings, maybe some people would have an issue with that, because like they should have the wings. I guess that kind of comes back to your question, Chris, like, are you modelling for advantage if you don't put the wings on the Sanguinary Guard? Then maybe. I mean, it's I feel like they should have the wings on them if you're going to take them to a tournament, right? So yeah, I mean, I think the safest thing is to just follow what's on the box and just make them. You know, a lot of people talk about rule of cool, and I guess there's something to be said in that. Like, just make your models look cool. Like, you decide what's cool, but like, I don't know. For example, like this librarian, I suppose, right? Like, he's got this extra book and stuff on top. Like, you could take that off if you didn't want it, but does it look cool? If you had like another model you're converting to a librarian, would you cut that off and stick it on the top of him so the other model looks cool? I mean, if you would, then I just sort of go with that and just try and make your models look as cool as they can. Because, I mean, ultimately, when you put them all down the battlefield, if they look cool and they're all painted, and I don't know if you know about this, Chris, but if your army is all painted and it's painted well, you actually get like a bonus to your dice rolls. The gods and Sanguinius will shine upon you, and you'll notice that you'll get better rolls. So that's what I would aim for. Someone else asked what we're working on. We are working on the Cerberus. It's a super heavy tank. Quickening then, a rerollable charge will still get. Yeah, I mean, like, you're 100% right. If you drop podded a Dreadnought and then you used quickening, that's absolutely fine to do the rerollable charge. You just can't use wings to move after you deep strike in. And I can't remember where about in the rulebook that is, but it's definitely a thing. I think it just basically says, like, once you arrive from deep strike, you're not allowed to move in any way, shape, or form, even if you have like an ability that normally would let you move out of phase. Do you know what? This tank is actually kind of a joy to paint compared to the other super heavy tank that I have. But maybe it's just because it's half the size. Yeah, the rule change means if we go first, kill them quick and hard so they don't have enough left to make a comeback. Go second, and deep strike options and mobility can let us pick up lots of late points. Yeah, I'm really interested to try the new thing. And also, I mean, the change to the roll off for like who gets to go first as well is also important, right? Because like there was a sort of level of strategicness with the deployment, right? Because like as a Blood Angels player, you deploy a lot of your stuff in cover. So sometimes you would deploy all your stuff in cover, and your opponent would be like, right, well, you've deployed everything in cover, so you can have the first turn, and you maybe don't get to do what you were hoping. So I guess with this change to the roll-off and who gets to go first, I don't know, I'm really interested. I cannot wait to play. I'm so sad that we have to wait to play. I don't know how everybody else's countries are dealing with COVID, but I mean, it's just super annoying. I feel like I'm always talking about it, but it dominates everything, right? And like, there's nothing, you can't go out anywhere, you can't do anything. Like, we literally go out once a week to get shopping, and the rest of the time we just sit in the house. It's generally quite annoying. Bring It Down changes have revolutionised my Elder. Can't say the changes do the same for the Blood Angels. Yeah, but I don't know if I don't think Blood Angels are in a tough point for secondaries. Like, typically, I usually manage to find 2 or 3 secondaries where we can easily score close to maximum points, right? Like I think we're in an okay place with secondary Skycheck. I don't think there's. I mean, like you said, Bring It Down maybe helps some of the Elder lists. It might help Orc lists that have like a lot of buggies and stuff as well. But I don't think it hurts us. I mean, if anything, it means we could take a few more Dreadnoughts. And I mean, Dreadnoughts are very good right now with the Duty Eternal, actually. And it still wouldn't be a great pickup for somebody against us. Tournaments used to have a rule that anything outside the perimeter of the base did not count for line of sight. Oh, interesting. I have never played that rule, but yeah, I mean, I think generally it's not something I worry about when I'm making models. I generally I will stick conversion bits all over my models. I want my models to look super cool, and then I'll just try and outplay the opponent on the battlefield is how I'll do it. Like, I don't necessarily worry about if bits are too big or they don't fit right or whatever. I don't know where we're going to paint next on this. I guess we'll do this side. Modelling for advantage is basically posable models only. Yeah, that's true. How would 2 Predator Annihilators as heavy support for a 2k list do these 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, etc.? Game rule house retires at 10-0. Yeah, I mean that like, if that list wins 10 games in a row, then yeah, probably we would retire it and then just take it to a tournament for a bit of fun. There's a few armies that I haven't played with it that my friends have, right? Like, I think. Let me think for a second. I haven't played Orcs. I haven't played Custodes. Who else have I not played? One of my friends has like a hybrid list that is like Thousand Suns / Demons of Nurgle / Demons of Tzeentch. It's like a really tanky survivable list, but doesn't do a huge amount of damage. But it's the fact that it's just always there and always in your face. So that, and I think it's won 7 games. So if I could play those 3 lists next, then I feel like it was beaten. It's beaten like a good. So it's beaten Sisters, it's beaten Iron Hands, it's beaten Death Guard, it's beaten Khorne. It's. What else is it beaten? Iron Hand, Sisters, Death Guard, Khorne. Eldar it beat it as well. And. Oh, one of my friends actually has Imperial Guard as well, but do you know what? The Imperial Guard just don't seem that strong at the moment, so I'm pretty confident it would beat that Imperial Guard list as well, but I mean, I guess we could try it. But yeah, maybe if it gets to 10-0, then I'll retire it, and do you know what? I'll bring out this list with this super heavy that I'm kind of thinking might be stronger. But yeah, I mean, I just we'll see. I've also built a list without any super heavy. I've built another list that has a Leviathan Dreadnought, a Whirlwind, because I kind of like the idea to use that suppression to make enemy units fight last. So it was like a Whirlwind, a Leviathan Dreadnought, and 3 Eradicators. Do you know what? I haven't used Eradicators all that much, but you know, when you do the math hammer on them, they generally perform really strongly. Like, they are just a great unit to have. You know, they can dish out 6 multi shots per turn, and you know, they can get in cover for that 2+ save. I like them a lot, and they've even at 45 points, because that's right, they went up from 40 to 45. That how they can still be cheaper than Outriders, I don't know, but I guess that is where we stand with Eradicators. Like, I think they're undercosted even with the increase in points. But yeah, I mean, I haven't been using them much, so it doesn't affect me, but I am going to start using them. Maybe now everybody's going to drop them because they went up 5 points and they're upset, but I generally think they're still very good for 45 points. I carry my models around in candy boxes. I hope you have some sort of tissue paper or something in there, or do you just keep the candy in there as well so you can snack during your game? I mean, that's a cool idea. My first transport case was a big tackle box, and I cut egg foam in to keep everything snug. Do you know what? Egg foam actually seems like a really cheap and easy way to do it, right? Because you buy eggs every week. So, I mean, it would only take like 10 weeks to get like a crap load of egg foam. So that, I guess if anyone's looking to make a carry case on a budget, just make sure you eat some eggs for the next 10 weeks. What is that red, John? So, I start with Mephiston Red on all my models, and that, if we look at the bottom, that is the light in here is actually kind of it's. Let me put off I have a spotlight here, which is like a natural light. So if I put that off, maybe for a second, that's Mephiston Red there, and this much brighter red here is Evil Sun Scarlet, right? But I mean, like, it's one of the reasons it's so bright is because I went with white, and then I went with the Mephiston Red, and then I'm doing the Evil Sun Scarlet. So it's like we're all over a white undercoat, and you can see here this is quite thin, this paint, right? Because you can still see the white through it, so it's like a really thin coat. And I'm doing. Let me put the spotlight back on. I'm going to get a better light in for here. Probably going to order it on payday or something. But yeah, so basically what I do, and maybe, I mean, everybody does theirs differently, right? But like, the way I like to do it, because I started in 2nd edition when everything was like super bright, right? Like, it was more, I mean, they called it the Grim Dark, but if you go look at the 2nd edition box art and stuff, like, it's vibrant, sort of like primary colours everywhere. So when I started, the paints that they used to sell as well, it was actually called Blood Angels Red, and it was like super thin, so like if you wanted it to not be like blotchy or whatnot, you had to put on loads of really thin coats of it. And yeah, so basically when I came back to the hobby, I tried to match my style, because obviously I want my whole army to match, and I'm a really slow painter, as I'm sure you guys know. So what I found was the best way to get close to it was basically like go for the white, then go for the Mephiston Red, then go for the one coat of the Evil Sun Scarlet. Again, these are all very thin coats, but then this may seem crazy to you, but after I've done this whole coat with this red, even though it is like, it looks really bright on that camera right now, right? I'll take a photo afterwards, like with my flash, so you can actually see what I'll put it in the Facebook group or something, so you can see what the red looks like without the sort of like yellow tinge from that light. Do you know what? I do have a white light that I could maybe try, but it might wash the video out a little bit. But yeah, so what might seem crazy to you is once I've done this, which I guess is going to take like an hour and a half to do this, I will actually let this all dry, and then I will do a second coat of this Evil Sun Scarlet. So I will really bring it up so it is like crazy vibrant red. But then the difference is, like, most people edge highlight, right? I don't do any edge highlighting. what I'll do is I'll recess wash over everything. So I'll go into every one of these recesses, I'll go around every edge, and I will basically put Agrax Earthshade in everywhere. And then all the panels, like these panels like here, or any sort of like raised panel, then I'll go over that again with Evil Sun Scarlet. So it's almost like like if you imagine it was a real tank. It's almost like it's been painted really vibrantly red, but then it's got muck and rust and stuff on it from obviously being on a planet, on a battlefield. So yeah, I mean, maybe you've seen some of my photos, right? I can show you a couple more like right now as well, that maybe they were taken in my kitchen, which is better lighting than in here. Let's see if there's one. Yeah, so this is everything in this scheme is done with that red recess wash that I just explained. And I guess when you take a photo of it, like, you can barely see here on this tank that there's the Agrax Earthshade in that. But I mean, up close it looks pretty cool. And these have a slight white tinge to them, as these have all been varnished, right? I think at this time maybe this guy hadn't been varnished, so he's a little bit more vibrant. The varnish maybe takes it down a little bit, but I mean, like, I like varnishing them because I drop my models all the time and shit. And right, the worst thing in the world is when you drop them and they break or they chip. Whereas like when you drop them and they've been varnished, you just pick them up and you're good to go. And it's like, oh shit, you know, you have that 1 second of like, oh crap, I just dropped it again. And then when you actually pick it up, you're like, oh, it's fine, let's move on. And yeah, so as much as the varnishing maybe changes the colour of them at the end step down a tiny little bit, like you lose a little bit of the vibrancy, I'm happy to do that, because I said it on stream the other night or a few weeks back. It was like, see in your day-to-day life, right, when you pick up pens or a fork or a knife or whatever, how often do you drop them, right? Like how often do you drop your fork? I don't know, once a week, once a month, once a year? How often do you drop your fucking miniatures? Every time you move them from A to B, right? It's true though, right? Your video about Death Company vs Vanguard vs Sanguinary Guard really helped me out, says Kevin. Kevin, you're so welcome. That's the whole point of the videos. I'm glad that it helped you out. We've got another cool video coming out tomorrow. And if you ever want to see anything, like if you have a suggestion for a future video or you want to see something, then go over to the community tab on the Facebook group and just post me what you want to see. Because obviously I pick things that I think you guys want to see, or I pick things that I think are interesting. But like if someone says like, hey, I have this really cool strategy and I want to know the math behind it and I want to know if it would work, then you know, great. And you know, we can do that as well. Chris says we're basically on full civic lockdown for the most of Canada, brother. Really hope life gets back to normal this year post-vaccine. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody is hoping that some sort of life gets back to normal. Do you know what? There's a good example of the difference in the reds there. Can you see that? So you've got Mephiston red here, and then you've got the Evil Sun Scarlet going on top of it. And yeah, I mean, like if you were just, I think if you weren't going to do like a wash over the Evil Sun Scarlet and you're going to do 2 coats of it, maybe it might be a little bit too bright. Like if you wanted to go for Evil Sun Scarlet and then just edge highlight, that might look too clean and bright. I think it possibly would. But you know, it's funny because like if you've, I don't know, let me see. Yeah, like here's a photo of like my Death Company, right? And like they're obviously edge highlighted, and you know, like I think they're pretty clean looking. The jump packs, the lines and stuff are pretty defined. I guess the issue was when I started my scheme all those years ago when I was about 15 years old. I don't even know if I knew what edge highlighting was. I think that was more the thing. So I was just making up my own painting scheme, and there's no such thing as YouTube back then, so you couldn't Google how other people were painting. You just painted how you painted. So at that point, when I made up my scheme and started painting my guys, I didn't do edge highlighting because I didn't know what it was. So the red guys stayed in this way, but when I came to do my Death Company, honestly, the Death Company that I did when I was a kid were in such a state, I just basically sprayed them all black and started over. So in doing that, then, you know, I went with edge highlighting with those guys. So it's like I can do edge highlighting, and I think I can do it reasonably well. Maybe those lines in the Death Company are a little bit thicker than maybe professionals or super good painters would do it, but I mean, I guess it's my style, and like I just, you know, I think the thing about this hobby is like just make your style your own. Like don't. I think everybody can appreciate everybody else's models, and I mean if you're just aiming to have a cool looking army on the tabletop, which I think most of us are. I mean some people in the Facebook group are showing me models that like I couldn't even dream about painting. They're so high quality, but you know my goal is to put a painted army on the battlefield and have it look cool. So I think if you can do that, then that, you know, that's the great thing about the hobby. Krychek says he didn't mean to imply an issue. I have to build them that way as I travel to games. Yeah, no, I don't think it is an issue, Krychek. I mean, it's actually pretty smart, I think, if you build them so that they don't break when they're traveling, because I'm sure everybody has broken models when they're traveling from A to B. It's definitely happened to me, and you know, some of my friends travel with like a thing of super glue because they're always breaking their things, and or you end up at a tournament and they're like, does anyone have some super glue? So if you build them smart enough that you never have that issue, then more power to you, bro. You know, any suggestions for best units for clearing out screens? Presume Onslaught Redemptor is one, but somehow I find myself leaning more towards infantry. Are Inceptors good at this? Vanguard veterans with lightning claws? Yeah, I mean, it depends what the screen is, and it depends on where it is on the board, right? Like Death Company with chainswords, if you're talking about clearing easy to kill screens, then Death Company with chainswords are like second to none. You're right, and a Redemptor with Onslaught cannons does a decent job of it. What else did you say? Inceptors? I mean, Inceptors can do a decent job on it. The one issue with Inceptors is you need to drop them within range of something to give them rerolls, or you're never going to be able to shoot them on high power. And Inceptors did go up in points, so you know, I haven't had that much success with Inceptors personally. But you know, and right now I'm not running them, but I do run Vanguard veterans, and I do run sort of a mixed squad with like chainswords and some power fists and like a relic blade on the sergeant, and I think that's very good. But I don't. It's hard to see when like screens is such a massive word, right? Like, are we screening? Is it Nurglings? Is it intercessors? Like, what is actually screening, and like, what do you have to deal with? Because I guess there's a lot that could be quote unquote classed as screens, right? Chris Jones, don't necessarily have to clear them out, just go round if they full bubble and if they're not picking up objectives. Yeah, I mean, Pedrog's right. You don't always have to clear screens, or you don't have to clear the full screen sometimes to make in and get your charge and then get your pile in. So, but I mean, I do like Redemptor Dreadnoughts. I do also like Leviathan Dreadnoughts. I think both of those can do a job for us. Eradicators, of course. I mean, if they might not, the screen, they could just melt screens if you really need them out of the way. And then if you want to charge in with Death Company, then I mean that will always kill. The Death Company generally will wreck infantry units. I mean that's their job. That's what they'll do. You can drop Death Company with just chainswords and watch them go to town on that. And I mean, to a certain extent, you could use Death Company intercessors if you actually own and have them, and can get them where they need to be, because obviously they don't have jump packs. They get 7 attacks each though with chainswords, which is quite kind of nuts. And now that we can turn on Savage Echoes earlier in the game, or get them in Assault Doctrine earlier in the game rather, that's pretty cool as well. What colours you're using for the Vibrant Red? Evil Sun Scarlet over the top of Mephiston Red. And I'll do 2 coats of this. So, I mean, like, we spent the whole night getting this 1 coat of it on. But, I mean, you can see that. Let me see if there's a flat bit that we can do a streak on. Yeah, like, so I've put a streak here. You can just see how it's more bright than this. So, like, we will actually do a second coat of this and really bring out, like, this will be the brightest red tank you've ever seen. I mean, possibly too bright, I guess, if you weren't going to wash it down. But, like, I don't know. I mean, I would almost say that there's probably better people you could copy than me for... I mean, if you're a beginner, my strategy here will work well for a beginner because you don't need so much skill and accuracy, right? Because you're basically going to build up the colour and then you're going to just wash it down, and you can be very inaccurate with the wash and then just tidy up anything that you don't like later with that main colour again. But like if you want to be a really good professional painter, then you're probably going to want to... Do you know what Duncan, that used to work for Games Workshop, is on YouTube now? He's got like 100,000 subscribers, and he did a video on a Blade Guard veteran, and yeah, I mean, like it was a very good video. He uses a lot of paints in his videos, so I guess if you're okay with using a lot of paints, like I probably paint most of my army with like maybe like 15 paints. Maybe he uses like 20 or 30 per model. So, but yeah, I mean, like if you're a beginner, then this is a great scheme, and it's not the quickest scheme because you have to do those extra coats, but it will certainly get you a good. Like people always say to me, like I work in the entertainment industry, right? So I work with some like artists and stuff like that, like for my day job, and you know, like one of the artists that I work with always says to me, he's like, "Wow, your models look so good and they're so well painted," and I'm like, "Dude, you're the artist, right?" I always think his models look way better than mine, but I mean, I always get compliments, so I must be doing something right, I guess. But yeah, second edition colours were like K-pop. Yeah, that's very true. So maybe we should rename the channel Blood Angels Commander # K-pop edition, right? So yeah, I guess my colour scheme is K-pop. You heard it here first officially. Thank you. Go Faster Red was an option then for Blood Angels. Yes, Go Faster Red was the option, and I guess that's where I am. Go Faster Red. I like that. Jaws. I mean, it looks. I'll take a photo of it and put it in the Facebook group tonight. And I think even though we're nowhere, like we've barely started with it. I think just getting it to that vibrant red. I mean, I like it. Would you say 10-man squad of Sanguinary Guard is just too much overkill? Yes, I think 7 to 9 is the perfect size for Sanguinary Guard. I mean, sometimes it might depend on who you play up against, but I think the only thing that 9 guys is not going to kill is like a Leviathan Dreadnought with Duty Eternal and maybe some like really good rolls on the save, right? Like 9 guys are going to kill most things, or maybe like Mortarion or some sort of crazy character like that with 18 wounds. But the thing is, if they have a crazy character like that, you've probably already shot him a few times, right, before you charge him, or you're probably backed up by another character. So if you're bringing the 9 Sanguinary Guard with your Warlord, who is like, I don't know, Dante, or one of the bike masters, or the chaplains on the bike that we've talked about on this channel, then yeah, I think 10 Sanguinary Guard is overkill. I think you get the results you need from, I mean, maybe not always from 7, but I think my current list, I use them in squads of 8, but yeah, 7 to 9 I think seems to be the sweet spot for your Sanguinary Guard. Just one, you ask? Oh, I missed that. I don't know. if you're dropping stuff that often, maybe dial back on the whiskey a wee tad. I don't know what it is about. I don't know what it is about dropping the models. Honestly, it just happens. Good night, chaps. Signing off. Take it easy. Good night, Trycheck. Thanks for hanging out. Maybe I get overexcited, right, when I finally get to play Warhammer after 6 months of lockdown and just have to drop all the models. Maybe that's what it is. It always feels like it's the model you've just finished as well that you drop, right? I'm not even going to say anything about dropping these tanks because I haven't dropped them yet. Touch wood. Just got my chaplain on a bike. Such a cool model. Can't wait to paint it up. Yes, he is a cool model, isn't he? And he's even cooler on the tabletop. I love the captain on the bike. I love the chaplain on the bike. I think, honestly, they're going to find their way into my lists all the time through this edition. I'm going to be a little annoyed next edition if they get rid of the captain on the bike. I mean, the chaplain on the bike will be here to stay, and that he just got added. Yeah, I mean, finally, I'm kind of glad that we get a little bit more customization within the codex, right? Because for the longest time, I mean, I guess there was no customization in terms of like building your own characters, giving them warlord traits and stuff like that. I mean, you could do a little bit now with this 9th edition codex. It really feels like, well, it feels like we can build like the most epic warlord we've ever had access to. I kind of love it. To be fair, 9th edition should be the best edition for Blood Angels. Yeah, do you know what? I watched a video today by Tactical Tortoise where he rated us B. He said that, like, you'll need to find it, but he, John, I can maybe put it up on the screen for a second. Because I do probably have it in my history. Oh, maybe not. Whenever you want to find something in your history, you don't have it. Faction tier list, here it is. Let's have a look. Tactical. So this is where he rated the armies. So S is obviously the strongest and D is the weakest, but like, they put Blood Angels in category B. I actually put a comment on this video, see if anyone replied to it, saying, harsh, Blood Angels B. I feel we're pretty strong at the moment. They definitely can be good. I mean, they're still Space Marines, but I don't think their stratagems and unique units are as powerful as other options since they lost them. People are getting so upset about how we lost our best stratagems. Dudes, I'm on a 8-game winning streak. I think you just have to adapt a little bit and play the Blood Angels differently, honestly. He's misinformed. Yeah, he is misinformed for sure, Pedrog, you're right. Yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing else to say except, like, well, whenever we come out of lockdown, I will literally be on this channel and there'll be a Blood Angels victory every week. Like, we're not losing games at the moment. I feel like the Space Marine powers or stratagems combined with the Blood Angel stratagems, I mean, they give us all the tools that we need to really win games. I don't know. I feel way stronger in 9th than I did in 8th. I mean, it took me a little while to get used to it for sure. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe at least 10 or 15. Like the first 10 games of 9th I played, my lists were all over the place. Didn't know what to focus on. Didn't quite know what was good or what was bad. Took a lot of Dreadnoughts at the beginning of 9th. This was before they actually did the Duty Eternal upgrade to the Dreadnoughts. But yeah, my lists were all over the place. Sort of won 50% of my games for the first, let's say, 20 games. Then I went on like a really horrible losing streak for, I don't know, 10 games or something, where I was trying out just pure melee lists. And the reason I was trying out pure melee lists is because, like, we are Blood Angels and typically pure melee lists, like, that's what I was running in 8th edition, was pure melee lists. And I mean, I won a lot of games in 8th edition using pure melee lists. but point scoring and everything was a bit different, right? So I was running all these pure melee lists and got like 10 game losses, and then I started. I mean, I guess that's what I've alluded to in my channel, where I started putting in like one Leviathan Dreadnought and one Redemptor Dreadnought, just like 400, 500 points of shooting, just something to get rid of key targets and something to soak up fire while all my melee guys do the thing, get across the board, you know? And at that point, that's when things turned around for me, and I was like, alright, so this is the synergy we need, where we just have a little bit of heavy support, enough to draw some fire, enough to just let my other units go around the board and do their thing, and then it just turned into like I win every game. And yeah, I really don't agree with us being that far down the meta, because the lists that I've played against are like, they're all tournament, like these are lists that people are taking to tournaments, and like I've fairly destroyed them. I don't know. I guess we'll see. My goal for this new year anyway, assuming that we get a vaccine and the world starts to open up again, is I am going to aim to go to a tournament this year with, obviously with Blood Angels. Like what else would I go with? But yeah, I'm going to aim to go to a tournament this year, and just because it's been a while since I played, like actually went to tournaments and played competitive, so I'm going to aim to get back into that, and hopefully from there, then I can even up my game on the channel even more, because then I'll have more tournament experience. And yeah, I mean, since I was heavily into the hobby, sort of between the ages of 15 and 25, and then sort of the age of 26 to maybe like 32 or something. Like I got kind of real life caught up, got married, did the whole family thing, I guess, and didn't do the hobby for a long period of time. But now I've been back for like, I think this will be my 4th year back, and I'm more in love with the hobby than I've ever been, I guess. And yeah, but I've only played one tournament since I came back, so now is the time to. But I don't know if I felt as confident as I feel right now, and I mean, confidence is sometimes more important than anything, right? Like if you go into the game with a very negative attitude, or that can hurt your game just because of your attitude. Wait till I start playing a bunch, then we'll lose a bunch. Okay. Amongst competitive players, Blood Angels are considered a top tier. Yeah, that's what I thought. Let me get it right. Gitley. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Blood Angels are up there right now. Maybe my lists that I run are a little bit different from the top tier, are using a lot of melee, or all melee pretty much. But I mean, I suppose it all depends on just the map, the strategy, and the characters, you know. And like I am running different things from the top tier. Like the top tier players are running Dante. I'm running that Chapter Master on a bike. But I mean, I think if the Chapter Master on the bike came up against Dante, like I think he would kill him. I think he would kill him hands down. That might be an interesting math hammer. Because people were like, I'm still running Dante, and I'm like, yeah, but he's going to get murdered by the chapter. Well, didn't say that he's going to get murdered. Just there's like the Chapter Master is way more survivable. But yeah, it might be interesting to see, to put them up against each other and see how they do. Yeah, that is a great idea for a video actually. I think Tortoise is slow on the uptake. Yeah, do you know what? I just found out about Tactical Tortoise's channel, and I think he's from Australia, or is it Canada? Canada maybe, or maybe it's I'm not very good with accents. It's one of the two. But no, I just found his channel the other day, and I think it's decent. It's really not hard to score 50 to 60 points as Blood Angels unless you table them early. It's really hard to not score. Yeah, I mean, I actually find it's really hard to not score like 80 recently, or at least like, you know, really high up there. I mean, we got access to some really good secondaries, both from the Space Marine book and the Blood Angels book, and then like our full boss units are so versatile. And then the jump pack units again, super useful. And like we talked about how they're going to get even stronger now with this new tier of turn 5 rules. So like, I generally think we're in a really strong spot. I'm really happy. And then something else that I'm really happy about, I'll tell you, little bit off topic for balance, but something that I found out after I'd started this channel, which is pretty cool. Right now, on the Games Workshop website, maybe not right now, maybe a month ago, they did a survey of all players across all of 40k, and like who's playing what army, etc. And apparently Blood Angels are now the most popular army in the whole of 40k. More people are playing Blood Angels than Ultramarines, which I was surprised by, because I think for a long time Ultramarines have been like the most popular Marine army. But yeah, now, like if you break down all the players on 40k, it's like 5.2% or 5.3%, something like that, are Blood Angels players, which is the biggest percentage. Ultramarines are only like 0.1% behind us, so they're still popular, but we are the most popular ones. And it was only after I'd started the channel and like had a couple of thousand subscribers that I found this out, and I was like, oh cool, that's nice, because so my channel actually is for the most popular army. That's, you know, that totally not by design in any way, shape or form, but that's the way it's happened, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, we've spent like 4 hours on this tank now, right? And what have we got? Not much is the answer. We have tracks that have the undercoat on them, but we haven't even done the difficult bits inside there. We've only done the undercoat round the edges here. We've got like a first coat of Evil Sun Scarlet on the whole tank, so we need to do all these hard bits in here. So we basically probably have like another 2 hours to just have the tank with 2 colours on it and the base coats done. So yeah, that's this is why I'm slow. This is why maybe my scheme isn't the greatest. If you want to get an army on the table quick, then my scheme is probably not the best. Sorry I've missed a lot of the stream due to work. What vehicle is this? This is the super heavy... What is it? I think it's just called the Cerberus. It's a super heavy tank from Forge World. I haven't put one of the cannons in because I'll never be able to get any sort of angle on the others to paint them if all 3 cannons were shoved in there. So I left one cannon off so as we paint through it. But yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. If you enjoy it and you like the work, then it's fine that it took so long. But yeah, I mean, I will feel very accomplished when it's done, but at the moment, that's where we are. So honestly, it's 10 to midnight tonight, so I feel like I'd just be starting something new now. So I think this is a fine place to leave this. Adam says, thank you for the info, new to Blood Angels and generally new to 40k. Well, Adam, thanks for tuning in. I guess if you're new here, then consider subscribing. We do Blood Angels videos every week. Multiple Blood Angels videos every week, actually. And yeah, we will continue this guy. Like, I think I'm just going to paint this exclusively on stream. Because I showed it at the start of the stream. Over here on my painting table, I batch paint my other guys. I'm working on like these are custom Vanguard veterans that I'm doing. I decided to do them in gold. I don't know, like Vanguard veterans to me seem like they're one step away from being part of the Sanguinary Guard, right? So that's why I decided to do these guys in gold. Well, we have a new video coming out tomorrow. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy that video too. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. And yeah, so I'm just going to keep painting this tank on stream exclusively. And I think we do, basically at the moment, I'm doing like 2 hobby streams a week maybe. And then the videos, the tactics videos on Fridays. sometimes a bonus video on Sundays, and then the Army List show. Sorry, the Army List show on Sundays, and sometimes a bonus video on Tuesday nights. And we will get back to a live show as soon as COVID calms down again. But yeah, no, thank you for hanging out, guys. It's been a pleasure. I always appreciate the company in the chat, and yeah, I definitely appreciate all the watches that you guys are giving me as well, because the channel is really growing, way more than I'd hoped. So, and I think we got like 5 subscribers at the beginning of the stream. It was pretty cool. So, yeah, we might be back tomorrow night. I say might because it might be family time tomorrow night. But hopefully back on Friday night. Oh, sorry, tomorrow is Friday. Hopefully back on Saturday night for a bit of this tank, and then definitely live on Sunday. You know, I hate looking at things like this when you think you're finished with a colour, and then you're like, oh yeah, I completely missed all those bits under there as well. So actually, we're way further behind this than I thought we were, but okay. Alright, well, I hope you guys all have a good night. I wish there was more lore on the first company. Yeah, I mean, they are putting out new books all the time. I don't know if you've read the newest books, but the one thing that I haven't read, I keep hoping it'll come on Audible, is the Omnibus. There's a Blood Angels Omnibus that features Raffin. I don't know what company he was from. I haven't read that. Maybe next time I go on holiday or something, I will buy that book for reading. Yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out. Really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great evening. And yeah, tune in tomorrow. It'll be around 13 hours from now. We'll have a video on drop pods and what you want to put in the drop pods, and it's all math hammered out, and it should be pretty interesting if you were considering them. So yeah, and I guess tomorrow is Friday, so end of the week, be able to finally enjoy a little bit of R&R. So yeah, okay, have a good evening, thanks for tuning in, much appreciated, and I will see you in the next one. And yeah, one day we'll finish this tank. Alright. Be closed out.